first. Welcome everyone to the Humanity as Organism Thrives Convergence Room. This is a convergence room which Dr. Tom Acklin and I are stewarding. And what we're doing here is we're nurturing conscious conversations about so much so that we can all participate, all have these aha moments and really be nurtured by one another, that we can be nourished and walk away with something that we can apply in our lives. So this discussion is all about girls' voices. It's called Girls' Voices Speaking into the Silence. So those of you who don't know, Shamima and I, Shamima, my sister, doing the Zoom tech today and everything technological for our convergence room, we have a nonprofit called Leave No Girl Behind International. And some of the girls here have actually all of them through leadership. And that's what our nonprofit is about. Girls, we're so excited because girls' voices need to be heard. It's fine and well for us to discuss how to have peace and unity in our world, but we can't exclude the young people, because ultimately they're going to be the leaders of the world, and we can particularly not exclude girls. They definitely need to just lend their many talents. So this is a discussion about how they see life and what could possibly what they'd like to see change. And we put out a series of questions, and girls filled out forms. So the girls who are here, we're just we're just going to be speaking with them and hearing their points of view. And this is a really intimate group, so we'll be participating in the discussion. Anyone who wants to participate, raise your electronic hand. Great to see everyone. Juliet, great to see you. And I think, Shamima, would you like to spotlight the girls so that we can start the discussion? All right. So just if you could, in one or two sentences, not much longer, just introduce yourselves. This is very informal. It's really just like it's a discussion where we can all just express ourselves fully. And as you know, Shamima and I have always said that this is a safe space. So we get to create this. We all get to co-create it right now. Everyone who's here has a part in doing that. So let's start off with just introducing yourselves, and you can go popcorn style. Just unmute yourselves and go for it. Who's going to be the first unmuter? Oh, wait, let me see. Let me just ask you to unmute. Okay, so Danielle, you're the young woman here, and you've been to, so just introduce yourself in one or two sentences.
Hasina, do you want us to share something interesting about ourselves, or something that we're currently going through?
You know what? Just something that you feel feels right to you in this moment. We we know that you're amazing, all of you. Just share a little bit about yourself, anything that you'd like to.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. And something interesting that I've come across over this new year is that everything that I want in my life, or all of these great milestones that I've always wanted and always thought about in my life, I've gotten right by manifestation. And as a person who really didn't believe manifesting actually worked, I think maybe because I wasn't educated on it or I never had the proper knowledge about it, a lot of my great, amazing achievements since I've left matric has come through manifestation. And I'm just entering an era of healing and peace, and I'm really grateful for it at such a young age.
Wonderful.
There we go.
It's great. Who wants to go next? Okay, Jodo, you seem to be unmuted.
Oh. Okay, Sonia, you speak. Hi guys, I'm Sonia. I'm also from South Africa. I've been associated with Hasina and Shamima from the time I was 7 years old, and I've never had any regrets. They have helped me through quite a lot. I had my first motivational address to a public audience with them. Danielle has also been a huge part of my journey. She's been like my school mom from the time I was in grade 7. And I really love what we're doing right now because we make so many great connections, and that enables us to just keep on feeling motivated and going out there and really, you know. Okay, over to you, Jola.
My name is Joba. I am Sonia's sister. I go to the same school that Danielle was in a few years ago. In grade 7. I love reading and writing books. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I must tell all of you who are watching, I could say all sorts of amazing things about all 3 of these young women. I will mention that Sonia at age 8 read the story that I'd written at our annual empowerment event. So it's been quite a journey. And my point here is that when we just empower a girl to know what she can do, and I think Sonia pretty much knew that by then already. It was nothing that we had done, but it makes such a difference. It makes such a difference to her path. The time just goes so quickly. I mean, she was 7, and here she is, what, almost 18. And that's just an example. So we will start the discussion. I know that if any of the young women who are panelists do arrive, then we'll just add them to the discussion, because there is a challenge, that someone's experiencing right now. Let us look at the questions that we posed, and then everyone who's watching, we can all sort of participate. So we'll go to the girls, we'll go to the questions, and if you'd like to respond, then just respond to that, because I believe we can co-create such amazing ideas that will really play on each other. So let's see, what support do you feel as a young woman that you need personally in your life? And a great side note to go with that, do you feel you need permission to get that support, or do you feel like you can stand up and say what you need? So whoever wants to break the ice here with that question, go ahead.
I'd like
Sorry?
to go. Okay. So I think that permission depends on our environment. Um, wherever we go, there's always that mental support. Okay, not always, but mostly. And that's not really something that you have to ask for. But sometimes you just need that physical support, um, like that pat on the shoulder or on the back when you've done something or achieved something. Um, you know, and at home we get that so often. Like we don't even have to ask for it. But when we put ourselves into the school environment, working environment, um, we come across a lot of introverted people. I think more now than back then. Um, and it becomes really difficult. Like you can't go up to someone and be like, I really need a hug right now. So I think that we need both mental and physical support. Not a single one is above the other. And we don't need permission when we're in our comfort zone or when we're at home. But the moment we step out of our comfort zone or into the working world, that's when we need to ask for permission for something that we need. Um, yeah, over to you, Danny.
I definitely agree with Sonia. I think because we are both definitely huggers, sometimes I don't need, there's a lady who lives underneath me, and sometimes I just tell her, listen, I'm coming for my weekly hug. I just need a hug. I live alone. I need a hug. That's just personally what I need. And sometimes it helps. Sometimes you don't want to talk. You just need that human connection of love, that I love you and I support you, and that's what I show you. But if there's and this was one of the ideas that came to me today while thinking of the questions, is the type of support that I think I would have loved to have from the world or the community or the people within wherever they are living, is that what my question is, why are women not given enough credit than what they deserve? And for me, that is a big thing, because at the end of the day, we are, I don't know about the previous generations to my generation, but specifically what I found in my generation is that they are not given the credit to think for themselves. They are not given the credit to do things on their own. They are more how can I say, they people put more doubt into their heads than, go for it, you got this, girl, you can do this. You've got all the power within your mind, your spirit, and your body to do something that simply seems impossible until it's done. So at the end of the day, if that's one thing I would have loved to have growing up, and I think a lot of people can agree with me with regards to my generation, is that we were not given enough credit for certain things. You are a woman, you do these things, it's been done like this for years, but now why can't I break it? Why can't I break that pattern? Not to take it away from people who have been used to that pattern, but to enforce it and make it my own and build it differently for other girls who are like mine, so that each girl has their own specific link and we each link it together and we make a whole new pattern that suits everybody, and we live in peace. I'm very much in my peace era. So that is why I say, at the end of the day, why weren't we given that credit? I don't understand why it was taken away from us and why we had to fight for it. That is not something people should fight for. It is something that should be given to you as a human, because you deserve it. You're allowed to have it. Yeah, Joda, you can add to that, or do you need to? But that's a support I would have loved to have.
I think that a girl needs personal support in like different aspects of her life. Like she needs emotional support, first of all, from her loved ones, especially her parents, and maybe if she has a guardian. Um, she needs like a sense of security. So anyone who she can just talk to and just let everything out and who she can just trust. She needs physical support as well. Like maybe she needs to exercise to maintain her health, but isn't motivated enough to do it. And then maybe she needs that someone to just push her. She also needs social support. I mean, we all have friends, hopefully. And I feel like sometimes there's those few friends who just try to put everyone down in order to lift themselves up. And I feel like we don't need those type of friends.
Yeah. Those are such good points. And before we even go on to any other questions, if anything's come up for any of the adults who are here, please feel free to raise your hand and comment on what you feel the girls have said. Carmilla.
I've worked a lot with kids, so I have a lot to say about all of these things. So please tell me if I'm being overbearing and you need me to shut up, okay? Okay, I love how well-rounded all of you are. All of the things that you've said deal with so many different aspects of what it means to be human. So I'm loving the fact that you guys are looking so far out of the box. You're looking at your needs so holistically. It's really amazing to watch. You know, when I was your age, I would never have had the confidence to even think about what I needed. You know, we were told to shut up, sit down, take what you're given, and be grateful. You know, so it's amazing for me to watch you girls unfold the way that you are. Um, what Danielle was saying about being given credit reminded me of something Hasina said to me last week in our yoga lesson. She said that sometimes the outside world doesn't always give you what you want or what you need. You've got to figure out how to take it for yourself. So for you, Danny, what I want to do is pose a question to you, and that is, why do you feel like you need the outside world to credit your strength?
That's a very good question. I like that question. That's a very challenging one. I like challenges. I would say, in a sense, because it helps, but it depends on who it's coming from. So if I would think of who I would like somebody to credit me on certain things that I need with regards to me, and as I'm a growing person and a growing empowered woman, it would come from somebody who is either my mother or father or a mentor or a person I consider a friend who's almost like family. So I wouldn't say just a random stranger. I wouldn't say that, because at the end of the day, random stranger doesn't know me. They don't know me from above, so but they feel that they are entitled to that power over me, that either they can decide whether I make it or break it. So Camilla, I think it would, where if I were to want to be credited by, it would be by people who are very special to my heart. It wouldn't just be by anybody. Yes, that's who I would, that's my answer. I
That's
hope
such a
that's a good answer. uh,
That's such a great question. And I actually think the awareness and the answer is very much in the question too. So yeah, thank you, Kamala. I know that there's Dana, Shanali, Suzanne, you all had questions. So go for it, Dana. I think you were next. Not
Hi there. Hey. I'm loving all the answers, and I like the way that each of you touched on similar things and different things. For instance, Sonia, you had mentioned mental, Joda had mentioned emotional, and also physical. To get that motivation, you might need help. And I think, Danielle, my question would be posed to you, because you're taking the lead on it because you're older. no one is talking about the financial aspect. And we've talked about different permissions, so to speak, or navigating in the world with other people's help. And financial is big, and that could have been part of the restraints from the past. So with you pursuing this degree, you're literally just grabbing it and saying, no, I got this. So kudos to you on that. And I was wanting to ask Sonia and Joda if they had any ideas about your financial futures and how you would need support for that.
Okay, so my personal take on the financial aspect of my life is that, am I still muted?
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Just come closer to the
Sorry,
speaker, then
the
we can
screen
hear you a
froze.
little bit more.
Okay, so my view on the financial aspect is that as a young woman, I need to be financially independent. So whatever I'm working towards, it's towards my future, not just building my career, but also being able to be self-sufficient. Because I don't think that it makes sense to be financially dependent on someone else in today's world. And I always say this, I'm used to living a very luxurious life.
To share my success, here I am. So Linda didn't have the experience.
Sorry. Go
No
ahead.
problem. Yeah, and in order to live that luxurious life, I want to be able to say, I did this because of my capabilities. I don't owe it to anyone. So with regards to the financial aspect, I don't need permission from anyone because when I grow up, I will be financially independent. Joda?
Okay, I am a little young to know everything about the financial aspect of life. But from what I do know is that if you want to do something for yourself, you shouldn't need anybody to help you do it. I don't know if that sounds correct, but it sounds correct in my head. I feel like if you really, really want something, you should maybe save up for it and then buy it yourself rather than having someone buy it for you and then having them take credit.
That is a beautiful statement to make. It's so empowering. Yeah.
I just want to add something to what Joda said. There's like a quote from this Bollywood movie. It says that if you truly want something, then the entire universe conspires to get you to that point or to bring it to you. So I think that also goes with not needing permission to be financially independent.
That's such a great, great point. Shanali, I know you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Hasina. I love this conversation. I joined a little late, so I probably missed a few things, but from what I heard, I'm gonna add a few things because I'm one of the founders of Power of Women, and I just heard one of you guys are in college, so I'm not too old. I'm too young to be millennial, but too old to be Gen Z. So we are like zillennials stuck in between. And I want to add something because I feel you girls, all of you actually, because the generation above us, like they got introduced to the internet in their adulthood. Like I said, being zillennial, we grew up with the internet, and the generations that came after us were born into the internet. And none of us ever talk about these things. And when we even talk about Power of Women, it's about bringing the perspectives of women, more like feminine perspectives, to really understand what's happening in the world. And I heard one of you, I don't know if it was Danielle or Sonia who said it, having the family give give you the support and whatnot needed, being told. It's so important because I grew up with that. Growing up, I'm Sri Lankan. So when I was growing up in Sri Lanka, I grew most of my life, more than half of my life in the US. But growing up in Sri Lanka, my dad never treated me like a girl, saying you have to be like on the side, like, he's like, you can do anything. So I didn't know if I was a girl or a boy until I was like 13 or 14, that's when I was more girly and whatnot. But at the age of 6, 7, I was telling the boys what to do. I was very much like a leader, but my parents never stopped me. My brother, everybody was so much supportive of my way. It really helped. I know what you girls mean. It's so important to have that. And then after I came to the US, imagine a Sri Lankan girl coming to the US, LA, from going from a private girls' school, Christian girls' school, to a co-ed school. In high school, everybody's wearing colored, and 14-year-olds can have boyfriends. So it was a culture shock for me. And I was so lucky I met a best friend. And we have to really talk about these things because I knew I wanted a best friend. And it was the best thing that happened to me, who is actually my partner in Seva, in service, who is a part of Power of Women. And the beautiful thing is, you girls like Daniela, Sonia, and all of them, I know there are a few others, having that friendship component growing up, especially at the age of 13, 14 and up, is the best thing a girl could have. That support system. And we need to make it so normal that girls are not jealous of each other. That's such old mentality. Girls are not supposed to be competitive. My best friend is literally there supporting me in anything, to the point once we were in Santa Monica, she went under the water to push me up when a big wave came. That's the kind of friendship I feel like we need to talk about, so that girls can find it with each other. And that also starts with, you girls are so smart at this age. Have open conversations with other girls, like-minded girls, or even with your parents. Be like, I did something with my parents, and I'm gonna stop after this, but when I was 15, my best friend said, hey, being Sri Lankan, I'm scared to talk to my parents about anything, my mom especially, because they would get really upset. If I say, hey, I want to stay after school to hang out with friends, they would get so upset. So my best friend was like, hey, your mother is your best friend. Why don't you have a conversation with her? Because you need to be able to tell her anything, especially at this age. This is what my best friend told me. So I went back to my mom and had an open conversation at the age of 15. I told her, Mom, I want to be able to tell you everything. But if you get mad at me every time I tell you something, guess what? I won't come back to you again, but I will still do it. You just won't be involved in the process of my life, because I'm just going to pretend like, I didn't do it and hide behind your back and do it. She took it so seriously. She was like, and I asked her, what do you want? Do you want to be my best friend, know everything, and then we talk through it? Or do you want to be the strict mom who gets upset and I don't tell you anything? I'm just going to pretend like I didn't do something. She went back. She's like, no, I want to be a part of your life. I want to talk to you. So it was not easy for her, being Sri Lankan. So we walked through that process. We both grew up, but it was that open conversation that allowed us to do that. Same thing with my best friend, having those open conversations. I think creating a space where that can happen, that feminine nurturing aspect can be brought forth, that where we don't have to pretend to be strong sometimes. Be human, feel the emotions. It's okay to go through the emotions. It's not that you're crazy if you go through like a phase. It's okay. And having a strong foundation. So I want to add that, because Power of Women is doing this. I want all of you to be a part of it, because it's not just about women. There's no balance or equality without everyone being a part of it. That means men and the youth. This is our world. It's our time. And we really have to, if we have a voice and you find this type of group, even if it's one person, you found somebody. You're no longer alone, So we got each other. So let's keep doing this, what we have to do. And I love hearing what you all have to say. So thank you, Hasina, and all of you amazing people.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And you brought up a very important point where, you moved on the screen, so I couldn't. You brought up a very important point. It takes all of us. And yeah, Tom, I don't know if you want to put on your video, because I specifically would like to ask you a question when there's a moment about, oh, wonderful, your perspective, because here you are, a man who has nieces, and what are you getting from what the girls have expressed specifically, and how do you see it?
There's a sense of personal sovereignty that gradually was taken away from us over the past several generations, I think. And there is a beautiful tipping point happening right now. And everybody who came along, not everybody, but many who have come along since Shanali, and God bless your dad since it's Father's Day. God bless your father for not putting the reins on you, right? It feels like you know that, and you know to thine own self be true. Yeah. Which doesn't mean do it alone. I was taught do it alone. And that's a loser. That's a loser game. Yeah. And so yeah, I so admire everybody who's spoken. I actually wrote down, Hasina, your opening comments when you said girls' voices speaking into the silence, right? And I was going to be the silence. And learn in community, and be in receipt of the wisdom, which I so appreciate. Lots of courage. I hear courage. Manifestation works. Amen. And I think the courage that I'm speaking to is, again, it's a different flavor from my generation, which is courage means say X, produce X, beat out the field, be better than people. And there's a different, beautiful coalition consciousness right now, which allows people, you still say X and you still expect X and maybe even X plus. Yeah. And to the extent that you can speak it out loud, there's a freedom there. That manifestation works thing, that's the beauty of it. Do you have conscious listeners around who will always have question marks, right? And then the courage, we made the distinction a couple of weeks ago about courage not being the absence of the fear or the constriction or the frustration or the obstacles, whatever. It's the presence of, and that's what we were joking about before we started the session here, is we wouldn't really want a life without stress. Life with stress is good. As Donna says, little stress.
Yeah, that's
So
that. Go ahead.
I get a feeling of competence. And again, competence doesn't have to be at all an acquired skill set or any level of success. Competence is just, okay, I know how to take this step. I'm excited about taking this step.
Yeah. And
Christina,
on that,
I've got a question for Dr. Tom, because I want to know. It boggles my mind because I'm very curious. Dr. Tom, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, Dr. Tom, you know what? Out of all, besides my dad, okay, I have to bring him in here because I'm also a product of him. But besides my dad, who's been very supportive with regards to women in general, on what level did you get to where you said to yourself, as a man, I'm going to support women in this space and at this level, because any man can say, okay, I support women, but their actions may suggest otherwise. They may be 50% there, but they still think they are above us. So can you just tell me what made you get to this level where you're like, okay, you have my 120% support on empowering women? I would really like to know. I hope I said that question properly. I didn't know how to phrase it.
I get it. And I got it. I'll just be totally clear with you and tell you that the first thing that popped to my mind is a very sarcastic. You don't have to, I never didn't have to convince myself to support women because most men are such boneheads.
Dr. Tom,
I just got progressively frustrated with most of the Y chromosomes on the planet. It's a great question, Danny. I don't know that I have ever made a conscious decision to, and I don't know that I have ever maybe in the last 10 years, I really started understanding what kind of injustice, systemic injustice there is. And pick your favorite topic. It's it can be racial, it can be international, it can be gender, it can even be silo. What's your silo in life? What's your and once I started seeing that, then it's an organic transition into having your eyes open and hungry for empowerment messages. Right? This is a very refreshing platform. This is an incredibly refreshing platform, the whole World Unity Week platform. And then what a gift you all are. Wouldn't it be great for any Father's Day? It would be a great Father's Day gift just to spend 15 or 20 minutes, right? Just listening in a new way, in a fresh way. And it's like that. But I think, unfortunately, it's not a conscious choice. All what looks like enlightenment or what looks like willingness comes through hitting bottom of some sort. And so for me personally, I had to hit my bottom and look in the mirror pretty clearly and realize how systemically oppressed I'd been. It was hard because I was successful. I wasn't in a place where I was struggling. I was in a place where, oh God, I'm part of them, like that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tom.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the space to say that. I had no idea that was coming out.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
And I don't know that all men are boneheads, by the way. There are a lot of great ones.
Yes. Definitely.
I want to add something to what Dr. Tom said. Good question, Danielle. There are so many actually men who are standing up. Power of women, even the movement, like I told you girls and everybody, even Tom. My brother, who is my biggest supporter, just like my dad, is the one who was able to coin the word power of women. And I couldn't comprehend it at first last year. I was like, power of women, that doesn't sound right. So to what Dr. Tom said, I'm going to add, it's reflection, especially nowadays when people actually reflect. And then also bringing, if you have or your sister or a friend as a man and being taught to, it allows that man and create that space for men to come, because then you want to see the perspective of another in terms of a feminine perspective. So we need to create the space by being strong, as we need to be strong on our own, not depending on anybody, but having a good come together. We're so strong. So, and men are, so we're lucky, thank God, there are a lot of men that are stepping forward that are like, yes, missing in the world. When that imbalancement is what's causing the environmental crisis, to societal, to even self with mental well-being, emotional well-being, physical, all of that. So I love that you're the only one here, Dr. Tom, but thank you for being here on this Father's Day.
There's another man in the room, I think. There's Michael.
Oh, I see Michael.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Great to have energy who support this, and you're so right. I just also want to welcome you, Didi, because I know that I just want you to know that if you'd like to participate, please raise your hand. You don't have to, but I did want to welcome you. I do recognize your name. And then just going back to the other questions, let me just get back there. And maybe that's a great extension. So I'm more interested in what you see you'd like to do. So let's, just go around, and how do you feel about the world you're inheriting, and what do you see that needs to change? And I'd particularly like to hear from Sonia, Joda, Danielle, Didi, if you'd like to comment, because just to see what your perspectives are at your different ages. Okay, don't all go at once.
Sonia, you can start this one.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought the middle child is supposed to be neglected. No, I'm just joking. So I think that if one thing needs to change, it's the concept of globalization. I mean, nowadays anything can be considered globalization. The people we interact with, the products that we use. But at the beginning of last year, I came across a concept called cultural appropriation. So apparently, there's only certain ways that you're allowed to behave according to culture or cultural background you have. And I feel like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't tie in with globalization because if I'm learning a different language or if I'm using a product from a different country, why can't I be a part of their culture? Why do I only have to stick to what's mine? And we're constantly trying to break racial stereotypes and cultural stereotypes. But if we're going to develop concepts like this where we're limited or we're limiting ourselves, is that really globalization? Are we really escaping racism? So I feel that that's a concept that really needs to change. Over to you, Danny.
I like what Sonia said about with regards to racism, and it made me think now, you know what, at the end of the day, we are all in this room. We are different genders, we different cultures, we different races, but when we talk to each other, we only human. So it's for me, it all comes back to mindset. It comes back to the way that you wish to think. It comes back to the way in which you what type of a stamp do you want to leave on this world when you decide, okay, this is Danielle, and then it's like a tree, and then all your branches can either be an evil branch or a really good branch. So it depends on, at the end of the day, what do you want to leave for people? What do you want people to take from you? But to go back to the question, that was just adding on to what Sonia said, but to go back to the question, I am excited for the world that I'm going to inherit. And I never thought I'd ever say this with such a big smile on my face, more worry than a big smile. But the reason why I say I'm excited is because I have a really, really, really good support system that I have rooting for me. And they have correct full, but at the end of the day, why must we say this is wrong with the world and this is wrong with the world and this is wrong with the world? Okay, but now what are you doing to try and be the change? What are you trying to do to fix that? Why must you sit like a couch potato and complain about A, B, C, D, and E, but at the end of the thing is to try and change it? Because at the end of the day, if Joda does something small, I do something small, Sonia does something small, Hasina, everybody in this room today, it's like a chain. It links. It's like how can I say? It's like those little glow in the dark footsteps, that somebody can follow in case of emergencies. It's that type of thing where at the end of the day, I want to pass on the beacon so that it can be distributed like a virus, a very good virus, so that it can be distributed and say, okay, I got my confidence because my mother was confident, my auntie was confident, my cousin was confident. Why can't I be confident? But my friend isn't confident. Maybe I should give her a compliment. Maybe I should tell her her hair looks great. Or, so the ball is in your court here. I'm not saying that you must be a for people. I'm saying that you must give them the tools and encourage them. You need to develop your mind. Your mind is so, so powerful because what movable structure that if you've got 2 arms and 2 legs, you're very blessed. So at the end of the day, train your mind and expose yourself to stuff like this. I love exposing myself to stuff like this. That is why I'm excited to inherit the world, because I know I can make a change. But I couldn't do it without the people in this Zoom call. I wouldn't be where I am today without the people in this Zoom call. So can you see how the beacon has been passed on to me, Sonia, and Joda? It didn't come from me, Sonia, and Joda. We just decided, okay, we're waking up and we're carrying on. No, it had to come from somewhere. That's why I'm really excited to inherit the world one day. And I'm really excited to see where I'm going. I really am. With my fellow people, not alone. I don't want to do this alone. People, with girls, with men, with everyone, no matter what you look like. You can be purple for the ride. You won't regret it. Yeah.
That's over to you, Joda.
I am about the world that my generation is inheriting: climate change, poverty, political uproar, and like start. And one thing I do see that needs to change is gender inequality, and I know this is what this is sort of about, but it's so crazy to me that it's 2023 and women are still paid less than men for doing the same job, and women are still underrepresented in high-level positions across different industries. This isn't right, and I feel like it needs to change. There is also a lot of negativity on social media. Like, people are just attacked for liking different things. Like, if I put something, say, on my story and someone else sees it, they'll like reply and be all it's our opinions on what we want to do. And I feel like if someone has an opinion, you shouldn't try to change it, whether it's right or wrong.
if I can give you a piece of advice from what I went through, because I was also like you, I didn't know where to start, Joda. There's so many challenges in this world. We don't really know where to start, but start with yourself. Like you just said to me now, you just said to me, there's certain things that you love, certain things that you're so passionate about. Keep that burning fire light that you and your sister have in your souls. Because at the end of the day, if you are strong enough and confident enough to say, you know what, this is Joda, and I'm going to own Joda, and I'm going to show you who's Joda, that is going to have a ripple effect on every person around you. And I know it sounds weird. How can that have a ripple effect? Are they going to see it? Are they going to see that there's a difference? Sweetie Pie, trust me, people are much more observant than what you actually give them credit for. So just keep being yourself and just keep that I believe in what I believe in because I'm allowed to believe in it. And it's because it fuels my soul to keep going every day. So don't worry about what people say, or if people hate you or people send horrible things to you. Give them kindness back. I promise you it will keep them quiet. Give them love and kindness back. Be firm. Don't let them walk all over you. Please don't do that, because we don't want to teach you that. But there's nothing wrong with being respectful, being firm, and saying, you know what, you are not my type of person, and that is okay. I'm going to go find my own tribe. Okay? Just like what Danielle did, I went to go find my own tribe. You are not my tribe. You can go stick with the haters. And maybe when they want to, they will come to you and say, you know what, Joda, can you teach me what kindness really is? Because I don't know what it is. Because usually haters just hate because they want to. There's nothing, there's nothing better to do. So don't let that change you. Just keep being you. Okay? If that's my advice.
And that's, that's what Carmilla, I'll ask you, I'll come to you next. But Danielle, that's a thing, I think, when you were in the LNGBI, how you continue to do that. Get back to what Sonia was saying. I don't know if you girls remember, and those of you who participating, Shamima and I had the NAI School of Leadership, where we had, it was online, and our first program was with South African girls in our town from multiple schools. The one thing we said, and this is why we hadn't worked with a lot of organizations, we were not going to treat girls like there was some kind of quota system. We were going to treat them like, we're seeing the whole being. And so we weren't concerned about any racial quota systems, any other kind of, age, whatever. We were just going to leave it to the universe. We've been discussing manifesting here as well with you girls. And that's what happened. And on the day that you girls graduated, and some of you who participating here know that, Donna, you know that, you were part of that, that when the girls graduated from the LNGBI School of Leadership, we took a picture, and it looked, in South Africa, we described the Rainbow Nation as, just equality. It's beyond the whole racial aspect. And Shamima and I looked at each other and we said, this is what we wanted. This is it. Because everyone was contributing to everyone's lives. They all came from different belief systems, different cultures. And you saw them interacting and discussing things. And seeing that commonality, that there's the microcosm, and we could get back to the macrocosm of the world, because it's so many different microcosms that create that. So I just needed to say that. And Kamala, over to you.
I have to say yet again that I am really loving how deeply we delve into so many issues. I'm just going to go in order that you guys spoke. again, the things that stood out for me from each of you and what you said. You were talking about the balance between globalization and cultural appropriation and how those interact with each other. And for me, as with everything in life, I think what we need to look at is the intention and the motivation. So, for instance, if somebody were to embrace the first peoples of America, for instance, and like I have a very deep affinity for the animal medicine cards, for instance, and it comes from a place of deep respect and love for the culture and the tradition. On the other hand, 50 years ago in America, kids were playing cowboys and Indians, where they were wearing, it was a derogatory thing that turned these people into the bad guy. And they were taking over that culture and representing it in an inaccurate way that was harmful. The same way that if somebody were to wear, I don't know, anything for Halloween that would be a cultural costume or a item of clothing that is culturally specific, but to wear it as a Halloween costume is disrespectful. So for me, the line between the merging cultures with love and respect and cultural appropriation lies with intent, if that makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Danny, I just agree with absolutely everything you said. It is all in the mindset, just like what I was saying just now. If people come at you, whatever people come at you with can only be filtered through your mindset.
And you know what, Camilla, it's actually, you know what, it's so much easier said than done, because you know what, when I think of when I was Sonia's age or Joda's age, I was scared because it was out of my comfort zone. But again, I had Hasina and Shamima saying, listen, it's okay. It's a good thing to step out of your comfort zone, because it means you as an individual, because we get so used to our comfort zones. And I've gotten into that routine of comfortable in a change in my, that actually has a good positive ripple effect right here, because I know it's worth it. Life decision. So don't be scared. And if you are scared, just go ask for some reassurance from somebody you trust and somebody who actually supports you, because I think that's also another thing. A lot of people say they support you, but their actions suggest otherwise, and my mom always used to say, listen, actions speak much louder than words, and that is very, very true. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
And then just going to what Joda was saying about people being mean, I want to share a little story with you, Joda, so we can get the other perspective as well. I've recently been added to a group of people that I went to high school with on WhatsApp. And it's interesting for me to watch how we interact with each other now as adults, 30 years later. So it's been 3 decades since high school. And this one kid has always been a bully. He was the one who came up with nicknames for everybody, who was always putting people down, and he was just basically a meanie. And he's still the same, okay? But what I found had changed for me was my perspective and my interactions and the way that I've grown in the last 30 years. So when Jeremy said something in high school, I would either start crying or I would hurl abuse back at him. It was either pain or anger. Those were the only two options for me as a teenager, as a way to react to what I perceived as an invasion of my space or hurting my friends or whatever. But then this week, when he said something about somebody that I care about deeply, he said something about her being the reason that the prefects were not perfect because she was such a rebel or something like that. And I said, but that's exactly what makes her perfect, because being a rebel is a sign of critical thinking and social consciousness. You can only be a rebel if you've thought long and hard about what it is you're rebelling against. And for me, that was a far more empowering way to deal with him being a bully. I wasn't saying, hey, Jeremy, what the is going on with you? Why are you being so rude? But I was empowering Diane by saying, you know what, don't listen to what he's saying because you're actually an awesome person. You always have been. So I managed to take the sting out of what he was doing without actually attacking him or getting angry with him. It was a case of empowering the person who was being disempowered in that situation without playing into the agenda and the mindset of the person who was being mean. So it's back to what Danny was saying about choosing your mindset and looking at how you interact with other people. And the other thing, just to wrap up that story, it came out later that he was actually insecure in himself because he made some comment later on about how there were only 2 people in our matric class who were not prefects, and he was one of them. So he obviously had a whole lot of issues going on within himself about not being a prefect, but none of us could see it at the time because he was playing it out as wanting to claim power in a different way. But I can only see that now with the hindsight of how much I've grown in 30 years. And I really wish someone had told me this then, because maybe I could have been kinder to him and he wouldn't have spent the last 30 years in pain remaining mean. Because, I mean, can you imagine how hard it must be to live with that energy all the time?
I think that was just the exclamation mark on it all, Kamala, and Joda. I know that you'd have taken that in. That's really so powerful, because just what Kamala has said, I can say as an adult in my 40s as well, that one sees these things and it carries through. You think people should people would drop those feelings as adults, but if there's no impetus, if there's no growth and evolution to be able to drop it, then it does continue. So yeah, great points. I want to actually just jump to the next question, because I think who are here, I want to hear your answers. I think we all do. How do you how do you personally want to create to the change already? You're creating change in your world. I can say that because I know you. But how would you like to personally create change in your world? And I think it's Joda's turn if you want to go first.
I believe that there are many ways that I can personally change my world. Like what Danielle said, I also believe that change begins with small actions, because those small actions could have like a big impact. And I believe that maybe volunteering for local non-profit organizations is a great way to make or to do small acts of kindness, because imagine you go to an old age home and you see all these people suffering there because like they don't have their kids with them to to just talk to. So if you go there and you spend time with them, I believe like that makes the day kind of. And I also believe like social media is a very powerful tool, and we could use it to spread awareness about big issues that I feel they are important to me, like environmental conservation and like ending cyberbullying. I know the best thing to be a part of. It's in my opinion worse than bullying in like school and in person, because cyberbullying, people say a lot of stuff that they won't say to your face. And I feel like that needs to change. Like if people like what Carmela said, in group chats, if there's this one person that just can't be nice about anything, I feel like if people spent more time with them and, you know, try to make them a part of the interactions, they wouldn't be that way.
Yeah, brilliant. And I'll come back to that. I just want to give Mom, I see your hand up. Do you want to comment before we get to the next?
I do want to comment. Hi, everyone. I didn't switch on my video because I looked as evil. Kamala, it's so good to meet you because Hasina often talks about the yoga sessions. And Danny, Sonia, Joda, good to see you girls. And to see you all growing up so quickly. What I do want to say to you is, you know, we all have opinions. Everybody has an opinion. An opinion comes from people's perception, right? How they view the world through their own filters. So I believe one allows people their opinion. But what you have to remember is Dr. Wayne Dyer, late Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, it is not my business what other people think of me. So that is something you must always keep with you.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And that's something that I felt I took so much notice of much later in life. And I didn't, you know, I didn't really have that that feeling as a teenager, but I mean, you girls are already discussing that and taking it in, which is so wonderful. I'm going to ask you, Sonia and Danny, I just want to, Michael, do not worry about what others say, but focus your thoughts on what you know to be truth about the self. Really powerful. Thank you so much, Michael. Yeah, let's go to either Danny or Sonia.
Okay, so with regards to the change I want to see in the world, from a young age, I was taught at home and school and with you guys that you have to be the change you want to see in the world. You can't expect things to just fall into place. If there's something wrong, either your approach to the situation is wrong, or there's something that you're not doing, or you're not working hard enough to change that situation. So I think the only change in my world that I'll be able to bring is by changing myself. And I'm not saying change myself as a person, I'm saying change my approach to, and that's how I bring.
Thank you. Muted, Sonia. Let me just unmute you.
Sorry about that. I think the internet keeps cutting. Where did you guys lose me?
When you said, you talked about the change in the world, change yourself, and just continue from there.
Yes, so it's only if we change our approach or the amount of effort that we're putting in or the manner in which we're going that we'll be able to see that change. We can't expect like there's so many different factors that influence our world. It's not just us, but it's also the things that we prioritize. Back to what Jota said about cyberbullying, for example, how much are you letting social media affect you? Is every negative comment or every positive comment taken in and absorbed and really heartfelt? Or is it just something that you see, okay, people are just expressing their opinions, I can't let it affect me? You can move on to factors, and the one thing about changing your world is that only you can change it. And if you're not changing your approach to it, you need to change your view on it. And that'll give you better ideas on how to solve all the potential problems that you see with that problem.
Oh, thank you for
Okay,
that,
over to you,
Sonia.
Danny.
Okay, I've got nothing to add to that. I love that. Thank you, Sonia. That was awesome. I I would guess being I know that I spoke about the things that I've started doing with regards to inner work and inner healing, and I've got a lot of self-awareness, so I know how to kind of navigate where are certain aspects of my life that I need to put a little bit more medication on or a little bit more healing on with regards to what I need to do. But if I think of what is in my external world and what is around me and not necessarily what's within me, it would definitely be being brave enough to be able to tell somebody, not in a hurtful way or a degrading way, that listen, you are not my person. Saying I don't like you, I don't want you, get away from me. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, as you grow up, you need certain things out of friendships and relationships, and there is nothing wrong with having your needs met. Okay, I'm not saying it must be high level, cannot reach expectations and needs. What I'm saying is I want to be able to change the people that I surround myself with. Since moving away from home and living on my own, you know, if that's definitely something I had to change, it was the people I surrounded myself with. You know, you only see it once you're actually alone, and you don't have a mom or a dad saying, you know what, Danielle, she's looking at you funny, or she's doing this, or he's doing that, or you know, something. There's no more that protective barrier. So you need to learn to protect yourself. You have to. You are entitled to that. And some is very ill. You live alone, and you will get there. And I've gotten there. So I want to be able to tell. So for me to tell somebody, listen, we just don't see eye to eye. We don't gel. It's not you. It's not me. We are just not each other's people. You know, does that make sense? And if that's something I really want to change, it's that, because you would not believe what an impact those people and their energy actually have on your life. And I don't want that negative energy. Nor is it my responsibility to get to a point where I need to say, okay, I'm going to fix you. I'm going to heal you. I want to do that. I'm an empath. I want to help you. I want to heal you. I want to help people with all my heart because I care about you as a human. But I need to say, Danielle, it's not my responsibility. If they wanted help, they can help themselves. And it's very difficult to draw that boundary. And that's another thing, boundaries. If that's one thing I want to change within my world, is not feeling bad for setting boundaries. I am allowed to set boundaries for my own health. I'm allowed to. And that is something I would like to change in the near future. I'm working on it. Yeah.
Well, I think that is so you're wise beyond your years. it's taken me decades to be able to do that. So thank you. That was needed, and I'm so glad it's on this recording. I know that we're approaching the end of our conversation. What I'd like to, and I see the chat is full of amazing comments. You can always save the chat. Just go to the bottom next to the smiley face with the 3 dots, click on more, first option. But I'd just like to hear from all 3 of you very quickly. What is your message for girls? So go ahead.
Okay, so I think my message has been the same for quite a few years now. It's put yourself out there. We live in an overpopulated world and people struggle to get noticed. But if you just put yourself out there, and along with that, all the confidence that you need to bring out the best in yourself, everyone will automatically see how much you mean to them and how much you can bring to the world. So my message is definitely put yourself out there.
Wonderful. Who's next? Jada.
As a 13-year-old girl, my message to the other girls here is to always believe in yourself and your abilities, and not to let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do because of your gender.
That is brilliant. Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Danny.
This one is difficult for me because I don't have a set specific message. I've got messages. I've got a lot of things I have to say and want to say. So it's very difficult for me to find a common denominator between all of them. But if I sit here and I look back to where I am now, my message to girls would be that everything happens for a reason. And it's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. Okay? Everything for me really turned out and happened just the way it was supposed to. The hard times, the good times. Just because it's a hard time doesn't mean it's not necessary. It doesn't mean it's supposed to put you in a hole and you must stay in the hole and die in the hole and never come out of the hole. It's not for that. It's to test you, to see how strong you are. So don't let, yeah, there we go. We're finding a common denominator now. You see, I got to get there first. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're going to go through a hard time and you feel like the whole world has turned its back on you, keep going for yourself. You are worth it. Why are you not worth it as a human to say, you know what, I'm going to wake up today for myself. I'm going to look good today for myself. I'm going to eat a good meal today for myself because I love the shape I came in. This is who I am. So no matter how you feel as a person, just know that when you look in that mirror, force yourself to look in that mirror and say, you know what? I love the body I came in. I love my eyes. I love my teeth. I love my love handles. I love my toes. I love my legs. Whatever you can see that you love in that mirror, just say, you know what? There's nothing wrong with who I am. Those standards society has met, they're fake. They don't exist without an external catalyst making your eyebrows look perfect, making your skin look perfect, making your teeth all white. You're not born like that, people. You are not born like that. But I think it takes much more courage to say, you know what, this is the skin I came in and I'm going to own it. There's nothing wrong with it. Tell me what's wrong with it. Like Rashida said, your opinion has got nothing to do with me. But you know what's got to do with me is my own opinion of myself. That's what's got to do with me. So at the end of the day, that hardship better teach you how strong you are, because I'm telling you, you are much stronger than you will ever believe. And give yourself that credit. You are. And once you are done with it, you'll be like, wow, I never knew I could do that. Because everything happens for a reason. You will never know unless you test it. It's an experiment. You need to test yourself. You need to, like Dr. Tom, you need to look in the mirror and you need to say, do I want to be them? Or am I going to say, I'm going to make my own little group and say, okay, come. If you want to be authentic, if you want to be yourself, and if you want to be a beautiful, bright, burning soul that can have a long-lasting healing effect on people, come join my group anytime, any day. So that would be my message to everybody after everything I've gone through.
Wow. That's a wonderful way to close off, and yes, very powerful from all three of you. I just want to Sonia, okay, say whatever you're saying. You'll have to master the art of saying it in a sentence.
Okay, so with what Danielle said, I'd just like to add on that it's so important to notice how society's standards are constantly evolving. Like 1 month, huge eyebrows are a trend, and in the next, all of a sudden they're looking at thin eyebrows. Or you know, in to meet these trends, the more we lose ourselves. And when trends evolve the way they're currently evolving, you lose out. You don't even know who you are at the end of it. So that's why it's so important to just be yourself.
That was such a great a great response, and I keep saying that because I can't get enough of saying that. I think I'll include Shamima in this because she feels exactly the same, that it is such an honor to have to know you, and all three of you, to have worked with you and seen you just evolve and flourish and grow from girls into women. It's really such a huge honor, and you're changing the world as we speak. You're evolving this world because you keep evolving yourselves. What I'd like to tell everyone here about is that, so for those of you who haven't been here or who came in a little late, Shamima and I are the founders of Leave No Girl Behind International. This is a girls' empowerment organization, a nonprofit based in South Africa. We empower girls worldwide through leadership programs, and we are launching a program that's going to be very exciting, where girls, Shamima's just put it in the chat, where girls/young women around the world from 12 to 18 or 19, they can get involved, and it's a membership, and they are able to network with other young women around the world, and they get leadership training. There will be guest speakers from around the world coming in over Zoom, and giving them training that one doesn't get in the normal educational systems. So we're very excited about launching that. If you have girls in your lives, then please share this with them. Share this with their friends, because it can really touch lives, and girls are the solution. Not all of us, all the young people are the solution, but particularly girls who haven't necessarily had that voice, and now they do. They're adding to the solution in a big way, and they can only do that when they tap into their leadership and they tap into their potential. So this is what this is about. And it is my honor to close off this session. Tom, I see your comment here in the chat. Shamima, is there something that you want to say? And then
I'll just say that I look at the three of you, and knowing that our world is in the hands of girls like you, that is the most powerful form of hope, to know that you guys are carrying this really bright flame and lighting a path for so many. And at the same time, with everything that goes on, all the chaos and the craziness, just knowing that girls like you are shining so bright is a gift.
I second that. Yes. And I want to also acknowledge some of our board members who are here for Leave No Girl Behind International on our advisory board. I want to acknowledge my mom, who commented just now, Rashida. and Donna Panama. Donna, also a board member, also has been a Leave No Girl Behind international teacher. And Tom, also board member, and of course he is with me stewarding this convergence room. So Tom, I just want to ask you if there's something that you want to say as we close this off, but I want to acknowledge all of you and so grateful that we all get to work together and do this so that girls have a voice. Yeah.
Me too, and thank you to you and Shamima and Rashida. Thank you for bringing them forth, and happy Father's Day to your late husband as well. I kept gravitating to the word conversation in the literal conversation. Everything everybody created here today was really a collective, and it felt great and is inspiring. And amen to all the brainstorms that come from it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here and for your word and energy contributions. We are having more programming tomorrow in Humanity as Organism Thrives. You can go to, Shamima, would you type the landing? Yes, peaceofcreation.com, and just click on schedule. You'll be able to see the programming in the coming days. And Tom and I really look forward to sharing whatever calls to you with us. And of course, there's a lot more in the whole World Unity Week on the platform with other convergence rooms too. So see what calls to you. Sending everyone love and light and so much gratitude. And Danielle, Sonia, Joda, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you.